Can you hear me now?
Yes. How's it going?
Well, yourself?
Oh, doing fantastic. We just had an investors mastermind. Now we got this, and then we got the book club after. So
Sounds like you're running Zoom meetings today.
for the afternoon, I was in my office all morning. But we have Mickey here in the room.
Jared, I haven't seen you forever.
How's Lauren doing? We have Mickey and Lauren.
Can you hear Mickey back here?
I can.
All right, perfect.
All right. Well, today we are going through CMAs, current market analysis, and how to do them quickly, and how to actually present them as well. Now, Mickey, I know you've presented a couple current market analysis before, correct?
I have, yes, I've a few, you might say a few.
A few, absolutely. Lauren, have you had the pleasure of doing a current market analysis on a home yet?
I have. I actually just did one on Thursday.
Excellent.
I think that might be my first one I actually presented to someone.
Oh, very cool. Did you do it live and in person?
No, I didn't. I was a little nervous, so I prepared it all ahead of time.
Excellent. Well, that's good. Yeah, you should have it definitely prepared ahead of time. So I think that's a really good thing, Lauren. So yay. John, are you on today or are you just in listening mode?
No, I'm here.
Excellent. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How many CMAs do you think you've completed in your journey so far, John?
I've only started one so far.
Oh, this is going to be a great
Yeah, it
class
is.
for everyone. Well, let's get right down to it. We have an hour. Is it okay if I go through everything? If I go through and I'm going too fast, you guys just stop me and ask questions, okay? But we're going to go through how to do a CMA. So first we need a property. I'm going to share my screen here. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this remotely, so I can actually pull things up on my computer and share it with you guys. All right. Is everyone right here looking at the document that says 829 Geranium Lane? So we're going to take this to the point where we've already spoken to our client and they've given us information on the home. So we know who the client is, we know the address, and we ask them a bunch of questions. And when I say ask them a bunch of questions, you should always have a document close to you, like a questionnaire that asks them questions on the home. Now, what I would used to have is, you see this great big yellow ugly sheet? And I would have it yellow for a reason. In case when I was at my desk and somebody called, I knew where it was and I could just grab it. But this was our listing lead sheet. And it would go through and it would ask questions such as, why are you moving? Why is that important? Anybody? It's about their motivation. It gives you the why. So why are you moving? It could be job related. It could be a growing family. It could be a shrinking family. It could be empty nesters. It's important to know that because then you know where to come from. Where are you moving to? Are you already working with an agent? Kind of important to know if you're in competition. Have you signed an agreement? If they've already signed an agreement, you're pretty much done with the conversation. How soon do you need to be there? So if they are moving, when do they have a timeline? Is it the end of the summer? You know what happens a lot this time of year? People want to move to get their kids in a certain school by a certain time. It's a really big why. So it's good to know that, and it allows you to have a timeline. So you need to move things, so you can go ahead and have a goal date. Are you working with a relocation company? Good to know. Reason why you want to know that is they may be the ones paying you, or there may be a stipend. Also, are you thinking for sale by owner? Could some people think that? In this market, absolutely. I'm going to show you though, when delivering the CMA, items that'll take care of that. On a scale to 1 to 10, 10 being extremely urgent, how motivated are you to sell your house? 1 would be if I get $100,000 more than it's worth. 10 would be I need to move for school, for job related purposes on that. All right, I just wanted to move my screen, so I'm actually looking at you guys while we're going through this. What will happen if your home does not sell? This is a great motivation question. If it doesn't sell, what are you going to do? This is where they're going to say, I have to sell. DISC, this is an old profile system. If a person was a DIS or C, that's a totally different class. We'll skip that. Tell me a little bit about your house. Ask them. They are going to tell you what's important about their house right here and what they like about it. How many square feet? They may know it, they may not. How many stories? How many bedrooms does it have? How many bathrooms? We'll need that for the search. How many years have you owned your house? Have you done any updates to the house? Do you have a pool? One of my favorite questions is 18 and 19. Rate your house, rate your home on a scale from 1 to 10. What does everybody think their house is at mentally, typically? Mickey, you can just chime in too.
Oh, okay.
What do people just think their home is on a scale to 1 to 10? What is typical?
Oh, they probably, most people think higher than what you really think, maybe a 7.
Yeah, I agree with you. Most people think their house is higher than what they think. So when they give you a number, that's why this next question is so important. What would make it a 10? And when you say what would make it a 10, they have to think of everything that's wrong with their house. And they have to say it out loud. Their self-evaluation of the price of the house gets more realistic every time they say, you know what, the roof is old, it needs to be replaced. In their mind, when they say that, their number is getting more and more realistic. It's a powerful question. Finances. What do you think the house is worth? First or second mortgage? How much are they? What do you want to net on your house? Sometimes you'll meet with someone and they already have an idea. I'm going to go buy this house and I need this dollar amount to go ahead and purchase it. It's important to know that. It's also important to know just because they want $400,000 net from their house doesn't mean you price the house that way. The house is worth what it's worth. And Mickey, you've done this a couple times. Have you ever had people like, well, I just need 200,000 from the house and then, you know, take off add the mortgage onto that and the cost to sell the house. And that's what we need to list it for, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But you don't price a house that way. So just so everybody knows that. Are you up to date on your payments? Are you the sole owner? You want to go ahead when you meet with people and you talk about, you actually do your CMA, you want all the decision makers in the room at that time. That's why you ask that, to make sure when you set up your next appointment and you're actually, all these questions are typically done on the phone. So when you set your appointment, you're actually, all the people that make the decisions are there. And do you own any other real estate? Would anyone like a copy of this well copied, scanned, hard to read document, but with a lot of good information on it?
Yes, please.
Excellent. Could you guys place your email addresses in the chat that you want it sent to? Mickey, would you like this as well?
Oh, yeah, you know, I probably have one somewhere from a long time ago, but if you send it to me, then it's at my fingertips.
Oh, that is excellent. I will do that.
Okay.
And Noah, if you could be so kind to grab those emails for me and just send it to me and I'll send it off.
Sounds good.
Thank you, sir. All right, so you have a bunch of information on the house. I'm going to stop my screen share here. So this is the house, this is a client that purchased a house for me and it's 829 Geranium Street. Now, this property is in Wisconsin, but that doesn't mean in Minnesota, you do a CMA the exact same way. So what I do is I pull up the information of the house on the MLS. Hopefully it is already on the MLS. You might run into in situations where the house is not on the MLS, and then you need to ask a lot more detailed questions. And actually, I highly suggest that time you would go out to the house with an MLS sheet, input sheet, and you go through the house, take measurements, get all that information, and then come back to the office and then do a CMA from there and do a two-step program. But we have their MLS sheet here, so we have that information. Actually, I can share that with you. So here's the property. Now they went ahead and they purchased this several years back. So this was back in 2016, they purchased this. Now, since then, asking them some questions, they finished the lower level and actually 800 feet of the lower level. So I made note of that. So now they have 2,600 square feet. And they added a bedroom and a bathroom as well, and a family room. So those are the items that they added to get to the 800 square feet. So I made note of that as well. So I have that information. The next thing I like to do is I actually like to go to the county website and I like to pull a couple things. One, I like to pull the map. Now this is the map of Geranium. And what I'm looking for is in here is that the whole property is the house is located on the lot, which it is. And I don't see any encumbrances or problems or anything like that. So actually I keep a copy of this and you'll see why later. The next thing that I do is I also, and this is at the county website, I pull up their tax information. A couple things that I want to do there is I check on the acreage of the property to make sure it's correct with the MLS sheet. I also see if the taxes are up to date. So if they're paid. The reason for that is it's kind of like another check to see if they're up to date on their taxes. Maybe there's financial problems that I'm not aware of or they didn't want to share with me. So I check there. Also, I like to fill out a net sheet so they know how much money they'll get. And this will allow me to fill that out correctly. So those are the two things that I pull for reference information just to make sure that the property is good. And then I'm actually talking to the owner as well. Sound good? All right, so now we have the property, we've checked it on the county level. Now we need to jump into the MLS and start searching. So that is going to be the next process that I do here. So I'm going to share my screen again. All right, is everyone able to go ahead and see North Star MLS?
Yep.
All right, we are going to log in and we're just going to do search single family homes. Now, this is how I start a search for a CMA for pulling up properties. And this is how I do it. The first thing I do is I select all. I want all of this information here. And I know like this property is located in Hudson, Wisconsin. There's not as many transactions as you would see in St. Paul or Eagan or Apple Valley. So my closed properties, I'm going to go back 100 days just so I get a couple more properties to probably look at. Then I take a look at the property that the MLS sheet from the property that I'm looking at. And what I do is I take some notes. Now the price on that property when they purchased it is $420,000. Now that's back in 2016. So I know that the new price is going to be somewhere between 500 and 675, just from knowing the market a little bit. That's a pretty broad range. Another thing is I'm going to do a search and I want to keep it Hudson School District. I know I need to stay in the state. And I know if I go outside of Hudson School District, prices go down a little bit. So I want to stay in Hudson. I only want to look at single family homes. I don't want to look at a townhome or anything like that. And this property as well is out in the country. So I don't want to look at anything that's in town because this has its own septic well and things like that. Another thing is this house was built in, what year was it built? It was built in 2015. So I'm going to go on year built here because I still have 62 properties, which is a lot. I'm going to go to year built, and I don't want to look at anything that was built before 2000. And I don't want to take a look at new construction either. So I'm going to go 2000 to 2020. Now I have 31 properties. That's a good grouping. Any questions with that section before I hit results? All right, I'm going to click the button on results. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the first property. Oops, go to the listing. And this is how fast I go through the listings. Now, with the property that we're looking at, I know it's a single family house. I know that it's one level. And I know the look of it. So this is the look I'm going for with the comp look. So ideally, if I don't have to have a split level or a 2-story, if I don't have to have those in with the comps, I don't want them. So this is how quickly I go through it. And I'm just looking at the picture and really not too much else. That is a no. That is a possibility. That is a possibility. No. That's a split level. No. That's a 2-story. Whoops. That's a 2-story. Nope. Nope. That could be. As a listing agent, if you ever take a photo of a property and you can't see the property, there's something wrong. I'm not even going to go any further and look at it, but so are people on the internet, like the buyers you want to go see the house. If your first photo isn't good, that's what happens. That could be a possibility. That is definitely a possibility. That could be one. Also, do you think the client's house, if it looks like that and they bought it new, if they see a junky, something that has a lot of mess to it, you're doing a sales job on the price. That property, if it's priced close to where this property could land, they might look at it and say, there's something wrong there. My house is worth a lot more. So I would just pass on that house. That could be a possibility. That could be a possibility. And definitely not a possibility of the barn. So out of the 31 properties, we're down to 9. Next thing I do is I go to refine and I narrow. Okay, we have 9 properties. The goal is to get this down to 4. The reason for that is when you're going through these comps, you need to go through them very confidently and with energy, because they need to have confidence in you to go ahead and go with the price. Because it's very rare, because Mickey's been in at a lot of tables as well. It is very rare you actually sit at someone's table and you go through what the value of their house is and they agree with you. Where do you think they believe the price is when you're showing the comps and stuff like that? Do you think it's higher than what you're telling them or lower?
Most generally higher.
Most generally higher. So you need to come across very as a competent individual. And that's why having less and being very confident about it is is important. Because if you have a lot of comps, you'll get exhausted talking about them and they'll get exhausted listening to you. So of this, we have 9. I would like to get it down to 4. So there's a couple things that I'm going to look at. First of all, Hudson likes Hudson. So if you're outside of Hudson, like New Richmond, even though you're Hudson schools, they're going to look down on it. So I'm just going to get rid of it without looking at anything else. The same thing with Holton. Now, I didn't look at any details there, but I just know how people react and think. Are there, well, another thing I'm going to go ahead and look at is, are we all looking at, this is a 1-level house? These are all 1 level. So we're good there. The number of bedrooms and baths that we have is 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. We kind of got a mixed bag there, but nothing that really shines like it's a negative. Square footage, we have 2,600 total finished square feet. That one for 16 is the lightest of the group. I would probably take a look at maybe getting rid of that one. Just because it is the lightest. These 4 I really like. I'd probably look at the actives here as well and kind of use it for my own. There's a little bit of art to this. So this active property right here, I'm just kind of going to scan through the photos. Looks like a nice clean house, doesn't it? $630,000, not bad. This one for 640. It's a nice house as well. Those are 2 really good comps, actually, of the property, the subject property, because I know it, I've been in it. Do appraisers use, we can't call this an appraisal, but does an appraiser use active properties or do they use sold properties? Does anyone know?
They use sold.
They use sold properties. That's what we're going to use today as well. But we'll use these 2 kind of for reference points. Now let's take a look at these 4 and see what we have. This property right here, 857, it's the same house. It's the same builder. It's the same design. It's a couple years newer. The only reason I know that it's the same house and same design is because I sold it. This one does not have a finished lower level though, but everything else with it is the same. So that's a really good comp without a finished lower level. And the our subject property does have an additional 2-car garage. This next one, we're looking at 3,700 square feet, which is a little, it's a lot. It's over 1,000 square feet more. And that went for 650. Does anyone know? And this is a nice looking house. Wouldn't you guys agree? The reason why I may use a comp like this that has more square feet and that sold for 650,000, it's because I want to put a ceiling on the price. And what I mean by that is because I know the market and I know the price per square foot that's out there right now in Hudson for a house like we're looking at, and I'll show you how to do this in a little bit. This house is worth about 650 to 675, probably more in that 650 range. And if I can show a comp that is really nice, like this house, that has 1,000 more square feet at 650, it might keep them more realistic on the price. Does that make sense? When you're looking for comps, you want to be able to tell a story for each property. Here's a house for 675. Again, all these are out in the country. They're 1+ acres. That's a nice house as well. And this one is for 650. Let's see what these photos look like. Boom, another nice house. So has anyone ever, now you have your 4 comps. Has anyone ever pushed create a CMA button and done this? Lauren, have you?
I have.
You have. Excellent.
Mhm.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. John, have you?
No, I have not.
All right. So any questions so far as narrowing down the comps?
No, no questions.
No questions. All right, John, this will be good. And Lauren, this will be a good seeing it again through someone else's eyes. Mickey, how are you doing? Any questions?
No.
All right.
Just make sure you have them all checked, or you only get one, or that's later, I guess, but.
No, you're right on. So we have
I've done that
4
before. Yeah.
And if we didn't have the 4 checked, that we wouldn't pull them through the CMA. So we have our 4 comps. I'm going to push the CMA button down there. And now we're going to create a CMA. So this one is going to be for a Joanne Krenz. I'm related to her, so that's going to be the individual. Pages. Now in here, you can pick pages for your CMA. So what I would suggest to do is go through all of these and find which ones connect to you and which ones that you feel you can communicate the best with. These are the ones that I use. And with that being said, I add documents to this as well. So first thing is, let's take a look at what we have, but we have to do that by filling out the subject properties information. So we're going to do that by grabbing the MLS number of the property on 829 Geranium. So I'm going to fill that in. So then what it does, it pre-fills all the information when it was on the market before. Now they owned it for several years, so they've done some updates. They've finished the lower level. So now they have 3 bathrooms, excuse me, instead of 2, and they have 4 bedrooms instead of 3. They also added a 2-stall detached garage. So now we have 5 garage stalls. And our total finished square feet with the finished lower level is now 2,600. You want to make these updates so when you're going through the CMA, they see accurate information. If they don't see accurate information, they're not going to believe your price at the end. So you really need to dot your I's and cross the T's. And it has the rest of the information, what they bought it for, all of that good stuff. All right, so that is all accurate now. Now I'm going to go to the cover page. The cover page, again, it'll have your information here. If it doesn't, just go edit my information and plug that in. And then here you have the name of the individual. Now let's say, you know, it's a married couple. You're going to want to change that. We'll put Jared and Joanne Krenz, and then put the address of the property. Again, you want to make sure that everything is correct. Because if it isn't, and they're correcting mistakes on this, they're not going to believe you at your price. Now, the phone number itself, even if you filled it in there, it won't show up. But if you save it, then you have their phone number as well for a future date. But if you put it in there, it will not show up on the document. Comparables, we have our comparables. Now, one of the things that I like to do with our comparables is I like to print out the photos and I like to do a paper CMA and I like to present it in the house in front of them. Does anyone know why? Does anyone have a calculator or a phone that has a calculator in front of them?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can you take 650,000, multiply that by 0.033?
21,450.
You have an opportunity in one transaction and they're going to pay you 21,000 and some change to sell this house. On something that big and that expensive, should you do that online or face-to-face?
Probably face to face.
I would definitely be face-to-face on this. I want the transaction. I want the deal. I want to help these people. And the more they can relate with me and the more we're seeing each other and connecting, the better I can help. So I highly suggest that you do this face-to-face. So with that being said, I go ahead and I check this box right here and it highlights everything here and it highlights all the properties. And then I go to print.
So, Jared,
Yes,
so also one real advantage of the pictures is it helps the seller to understand what their house needs to look like on the inside to get that price.
absolutely. It does a lot of the work for us, doesn't it, Mickey?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. And so with this, I just go ahead and I grab the multiple photo flyer, or photos only is actually what I grab, and I print that out. And you're going to see that come out. I've already put this together for us. And so with that being said, I print that out and then hold it. I'm getting a call right now there. I print that out and I get that ready for my packet. So that's the first thing I print. Now let's go back to the CMA. So we have our comps. I look at the map. And it shows where the property is and then where everything else is located to it. One of the things that I like to do as well, if you go back to the comparables, it has the distance. And this distance right here is the distance to the subject property. So if you're out in the country, the furthest one away is 2.9 miles, almost 3. That's not very far away for our country property. And the nearest ones are 1.8 and 1.7. That's like really close. So when you print this whole thing out on the map, I highly suggest you take these addresses 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are shown up here, and go back to the comps and write right next to it how far away it is from the subject property. The reason for that is you're just showing your clients that you're dotting the I's and crossing the T's, that you're very competent. Adjustments, I don't do any adjustments on it. I kind of let the comps talk from themselves. And then we go to the finished page and I go view CMA. And when it pulls up, this is the CMA itself. And I'm going to put this together in an order that's going to make sense. And I'm going to show you how to present it. So here's that map page I was telling you about. So that's in there. And then it has the subject property along with the 4 comps that we picked out. And one of the things that I look for here is to make sure that the changes we made showed up. So we did 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, Total finished square feet, we changed that to 2,600 and we put the 5-car garage in, or garage spaces where it was 3. So all of our changes did show up, and we have the 2 properties. And then we have the summary pages where it breaks everything down. Now for right now, if we look at this, our subject property has 4 bedrooms. On average, we're looking at 3.8. It's pretty close. 3 baths on average, 3. 5-stall garage. Well, these all have 3. Total finished square feet, 2,800 and some change. We're at 26. That's really close. Price per square foot, 230. Year built, boy, pretty close. All about the same. We're all single family. We're all 1 story. They've all pretty much been sold within the last 6 months. These are phenomenal comps. And we really kind of went through it fast, right? But some things that you want to look for is, are the stories all the same when you're getting your comps? A 1-story is more expensive to build than a split level or a 2-story house. Single family, if you're looking at single family, it needs to be single family. If you're looking at a townhouse, it needs to be a townhouse or a condo. Year built, you want to be close to the same era of year built. There's a big difference between a house that was built in 1980 compared to 2015, just with the finishing and stuff like that. That was one of the reasons why we were able to go through the comps so quickly, is that within 100 to 150,000 price point, all the finishes are going to be about the same. There's not that much variation as long as the year built is about the same. And our square footage, yay. So far, so good. All right, so we have this information. We have more photos of the property. We still need to tell our story a little bit better. And so for that, what we do is we're just going to go on any of these properties. And then we're going to go to this thing called InfoSparks. Has anyone been on InfoSparks? All right, perfect. In InfoSparks, this is just, it's a data collection area. And it pulls all the information from the MLS and it makes it like really easy to look at and review. So the first section here is, we're in Hudson. Well, we want to stay in Hudson. We clicked on a Hudson property, so it shows up Hudson. If we were looking at an Apple Valley property and we clicked on it, it would show Apple Valley here, but since we're Hudson, price range. Now, the comps that we looked at were somewhere between 630,000 and 660. And that really isn't a good range in here. So I'm going to actually create it. Okay, so I'm going to click custom and I'm going to change this to 575 to 675. Then I'm going to click done. And then I'm just going to click on this button right here. And now it's only taking properties in that price point in Hudson. Property types, I only want to look at single family. I do not want all property types. New construction is more expensive and this house is 7 years old. So we're going to go previously owned. In here, we're going to do traditional sale. So it's not a short sale, foreclosure. They don't really exist anymore anyways. So we're doing traditional normal sale. Square footage. We're at 2,600 square feet and there's really nothing in here for that. So we're going to do another custom range again. And what we'll do is we'll do 2,400 square feet to 3,000. Done. And then we got to click on that button to lock that up. Now this bar graph always bugs me, or the line graph. The bar graph is much easier to read. So we're going to click on the bar graph. Now we can go ahead and tell some stories. So some of the things that I like to grab right now is new listings. New listings. This tells a story. 2 homes were available from well, it's May now. Well, this is April. So of April of 2020, there was 2 homes that were new listings that came on the market in Hudson at this price point with all these criterias that fit where we're at. Last year in April, there was 3. This year, there is 9. Does anyone know what that tells you about the market?
Shift.
It's shifting.
Yeah.
One of the things, if you're a buyer, there's 3 times the amount of inventory than there was a year ago. Let's go take a look at some homes. There's a hope. This is a big deal on that. So which is good. If you're a seller, it means we might need to be a little bit more responsible on price. So do we want to share that with our client?
Mhm.
I would for sure. Another one, we price homes price per square foot. So I would want to take a look at that one. What does that story tell? All right, so this shows price per square foot has gone up the last 3 years. On a home like ours, price per square foot is $232. We're right around 2,600 square feet. So that tells me we're a little over 600,000 right there. Would that be a powerful story to tell? This is a great story to tell, especially if someone really wants to overprice their house and you compare it to price per square foot. It's a really important thing. So that is another one that I would go ahead and use as well. So we have new listings, we have price per square foot. We could go days on the market. That could be interesting. Look at that. 18 days on the market.
So
Well,
Jared,
Yeah.
as dramatic of a change as we've had, say even the last 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and those statistics don't really show up for, another month. So when you're talking to somebody now, it's a little trickier.
I would use this right here. Inventory has gone up 3 times the amount.
Right.
And I'll show you another tool here in a little bit that I use as well. But right now, when I show them, this is where inventory levels were at. Now we're up 200%.
Mhm.
Where we were 3 times the amount than a year ago. This is what's going on in the market.
Yeah.
That is huge. I also go ahead and show them showings per listing. And this is why I show this number. Because it gives me and you'll see it when I go through how I present this. I use this 6.3 showings per listing. We need to be sold by the time we have 6 showings. If we're not sold by that time, it's my job to get people into the property. And if people aren't, if we have 10 people through the property and your house isn't sold yet, it's not the people going through the property, it's the property. And so we need to change something. We either need to look at the staging, we need to improve something, or we just need to improve the price. And typically you stage the house before it goes on the market and you get it the best condition as you absolutely can before it goes on the market. So the only thing there is to change is the price. And I tell them that. So those are the 3 things that I use to help paint a story. And my story is the market is changing. You need to be priced at a certain price per square foot and showings on the property. And they all fit the criteria of your property that you have. Any questions with InfoSparks?
No, I don't know if this is InfoSparks question or not, but recently I have a house that is listed, and the basement is totally finished. I mean, it's got a theater room and all the equipment and everything. It's got a fenced yard, a party deck. A house a block away just went on for 100,000 less. But it had the same footprint, but when you go to MLS, the finished square feet is considerably different because it doesn't have a finished basement. How much, and of course, the buyers and the sellers are all going, well, how much difference does that make in how you price that house? Because it's the same footprint, the basement's just not finished. So the price per
There's
square
a-
foot is not
you get-
realistic.
You get a much more price per square foot. The price per square foot for the property that's not finished is much higher than the one that that the square footage is finished.
Right. How much do you figure on that?
I'll be able to show you on the properties in this scenario.
Okay,
Because we do have a house that has 1,000 more finished square feet. And the price per square foot is actually much lower than the rest.
okay,
And it's diminishing returns after you go so large.
right. And I've tried to convince your seller that, yeah, it's like.
So, well, this going through this may help with that. It may not. This is one other thing that I do is I go back to a search and I do select all. And now that we know our price range is between 575 and 675. I grab all the properties and we're going to do Hudson School District again. There's 68 properties. Results. I take all of the properties and I print them out in a single line sheet. Agent single line preview. Well, I need all of them, no, not just 25. Well, anyways, what you would do is you'd click on all of them and it prints it out like this. And I'm going to show you how to use it when presenting a CMA. So I print that out. I do a little research on that, which I will show you. So I put all this information together. You guys ready to see me present this? We've done a lot of due diligence, right? Let's hope I scanned this document. I did. One moment, please. All right, are you guys able to see current market analysis? Did that show up?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to present this current market analysis to you guys. You ready? All right, and we have 10 minutes, so I am going to go a little quickly with it, but if you need to stop me, let me know. Well, thank you, Jared and Joanne, for having me out today. It's absolutely a pleasure. Just want to let you know, I went and I looked at the county website and I wanted to make sure everything was correct on your property. And looking at this, we have 2.39 acres. Does that sound correct to you? Excellent. And then I see you paid your property taxes in full this year. Is that correct? Excellent. Here's one thing I want you to take a look at as well. I pulled the map of the property. And does this look like the proper property lines on your property? And during this process, they're interacting, saying yes, no, I thought it was over here. Oh, I need to work, then as an agent, I'm like, oh, I need to reach out to the county and make sure that that's correct. But I'm just showing them that I did the due diligence. So one of the things I want to show you is what's going on in the Hudson market. And the first thing I wanted to show you was price per square foot and what's going on there. Now, price per square foot, what that is looking at the square footage of your house and what the multiplier is right now in Hudson. And right now, homes like yours are selling for $232 a square foot. And when I say homes like yours, this is using this criteria. Homes in Hudson School District that are traditional sales. So that means they're not bank owned or anything like that. They're previously owned. That means that they're not new construction. New construction is much higher than traditional sale. And we're looking at homes in the price point from 575 to 675, between 2,400 and 3,000 square feet, non-waterfront. And those are the criteria that fit. You have 2,600 square feet on your home. So just to let you know, the market is up right now and we're at $232 a square feet, and that's the average. Any questions with that? Excellent. Do you know how many showings you should expect before getting an offer? We should have 6. So when we go ahead and we put your house on the market and the staging is all complete, when the photography is all done, and we go on the market and you see that we have 6 showings, you can pretty much be assured that we're going to get an offer, a good offer with those 6. If we do not, we need to look at tweaking something. Now, typically the only things you can tweak is the condition of the house, the staging, or the price. And before we put your house on the market, we're going to have a stager go through and your house is going to be staged. So we'll take care of that, and we'll make sure that the condition of the home is in the best condition as it can be, or the condition you want it when it goes on the market. So there's really nothing to do there. The only thing will be the price. So once we hit 6 showings and we don't, let's say we didn't have an offer, I'm going to go ahead and be calling you and talking to you about probably doing a price improvement on the home. Any questions with that? Now here they may have some questions, and we just go back to the numbers on that. Another thing I want to show you is, have you heard the news? Like, we're in a changing market. Have you heard, like, just look at the stock market the last couple of weeks. We have just a different market going on right now. And to show this, in April 3 years ago, 2 homes like yours came on the market in all of Hudson. Now, a year ago, April 3 did. This year, 9. We're up by 200%. There's 3 times the amount of homes for buyers to look at than there was a year ago. So the market is definitely changing on that front. And what it is, it just shows that we need to be more competitive. Any questions there? What I also wanted to demonstrate is I pulled up all the properties on the MLS that are located in Hudson School District that are from 575 to 675 in the last 180 days. And what I found was, right now we have 10 active properties. So those are 10 properties that are our competition. We have 6 properties that are active and / pending. That means that there's 6 properties there that are active right now that are negotiating terms to get to the pending stage, which there are 9. 26 properties have closed in this criteria, and 19 have canceled or expired. You want to show off the canceled and expired, the 19, because do they think any properties have canceled and expired in the last 180 days if they watch the news? Nope, they do not. So you really want to show that off. Another thing you'll want to touch base on is the fact that there's 10 active properties right now. Does that match the number 9 that we gave them a little bit ago? Kind of does. Also with that, it's important to point out that, if we were on the market a year ago, this 10 active might have been 1 or 2, maybe even 0. That's how tight the market was. So it's definitely changing right now. So we just got to make sure we're doing everything right. Any questions with that? They'll say no. We have 5 minutes. Map. This shows your property right here. And here are the 4 comps that I went ahead and pulled. And as you can see, they're all really close to your home. So I have 4 really good comps for you to look at today. Then I go through, this is the subject property. I go through all of this and I ask them if this is correct. Is the square footage correct? Is the bedrooms correct? The bath, what you paid for it? The reason why I ask them if it's correct is because if it's not, and I start talking about the comps, they're gonna disregard everything that I'm saying, because they'll be like, Jared, you said that there's 4 bedrooms here and I know there's 5. So obviously the rest of this is incorrect. So you ask them and get their permission to take the next step. Now, let's say there's something in here that's incorrect. This is the power of doing it in front of them. Take your pen, cross out. Let's say if it's a 5 bedroom, not a 4, cross out the 4, put a 5. So they see it. Then go through, we'll go through 857 Chebec Lane. So this property right here, now it closed at the end of October. It is a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,800 square feet. This house is James Kruger, the builder, built your house and this home right here. So the main level is exactly the same. It's just the lower level they didn't finish yet. So it's really one of the biggest difference. The other is this doesn't have an additional 2-car garage like yours. It's 2 years newer, and this one does have a 3-season screened-in porch on that. And here I'll show you the pictures of that. Excuse me. So as you can see, it's just like your house. And I show them the photos. And then I do that same thing with each house. And for time reasons, I won't go through each, but then I show off each house and go through it. And like Mickey was saying, I'm showing off how the homes are staged. Or if like this master bathroom is much nicer than the subject property, I will show off that master bathroom like, oh gosh, that tile is absolutely beautiful. I don't tell people that it's better than their house, but I'll just kind of brag it up for a little bit, and it does the same thing, because you don't want to belittle their house. Like even like here, boy, the built-ins that they have here in the family room are just incredible. Really well done. So that's how you go through the comps. And then you get to this page. Mickey, now you were asking the question like, what if there's a lot more square feet? This 852 for 650, their price per square foot is $182. The one with just the main level finished square feet and not the lower level finished square feet is $292. So it kind of sets the stage. So what I do here is, here we have your property right here, 4 bedroom, 3 bath, 5-car garage, 2,600 total finished square feet, built in 2015. These are the comps that we just went through. I tell them, these are the greatest, these are great comps. They're all 1-story, single family, year built, are all around the range we were built. On average, they're selling for $230 a square foot. At the beginning of this, what did we come up with? 232, right? So it's really close. We're matching everything up. On total finished square feet, on average, we're just a little bit larger than what we have. 3-car garage, 3 baths like us, 3.8 bedrooms, we're 4, and price on average is $625. The next thing I do is, after looking at this, what do you think your house should sell for? What do you think and actually will sell for, but I'll also use the word realistically. Realistically, what do you think your house will sell for? And I let them answer. They'll always say, hey, you tell us what the property's worth. And I'm like, well, I have that on the next page, but what do you think it's worth? Realistically. Use the word realistically. And then I show them my seller estimated expense, which has 650, 640, and 630. And I'll say, in this case, their house is worth 650,000 all day long. But I'll actually start at 640 and go through what it would cost to sell their house. It's 4 o'clock. Did that help everybody? Was that good?
Yes, it was.
It
Excellent.
was. Thank you, Jared.
Well, thank you. I hope that helped you guys on how to put together a CMA and how to present it. So I know there's a class that starts right now, so I'm going to let you guys go. Have a great day. Have fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.